I'm out here grinning like a Cheshire cat, y'all. Ain't nothing prettier than that behind me. I know for a fact I've never grown or been responsible for this prettiest stand of corn in my life. Hadn't grown too many corn patches. Did okay last year, but boy howdy, this is something else. I ain't that tall, but these are twice my height. I think they're probably 8 foot tall. And I mean the prettiest green I've ever seen. But I got carried away with it on how much I planted. And I think the good Lord was looking out for me by letting the chickens eat half the row, so I had to replant a little later. I'll let my math whizzes do the math, but to give you the variables, so this is G90 sweet corn, and it'll produce about 2 ears a stalk. Some of them will get 3, so we'll call that 2 1/4 over the field. They're planted in double rows, 3 double rows, about 180, 190 plants per row. So y'all run the math out on that, and I'm gonna have enough corn to feed half of Texas. So that's not a bad thing, is it? But boy, it's sure pretty. It's full of corn, tasseling out, pollinating. It's good stuff. I do have a little bit of an issue with these peas. They are looking good. That upper set's already set in bloom, so we'll have peas for long on the upper half. But I forgot where I planted the purple hulls and the green crowders. I can't remember which one was which. But it doesn't bother me too much. But it hit me like a ton of bricks up there where I was tilling that watermelon patch this evening. Just getting a few of the weeds out of the furrows. Time's gonna tell me which one of these are purple hulls and which one of them are cream crowder. The plants and the bushes look pretty similar right now. It's hard to tell. But when they start blooming and they set that first pea, that fruit is going to tell me the content of that plant. Seen a lot of that this week. Sure have. This history repeats itself. Little Lance, my youngest son up in Illinois, was here last year, and ahead of Mom's passing, they'd come to visit. And he caught us right in time, and he helped me turn the rows, or the vines, on those watermelon plants last year about this time. I was thinking about him. He was following in his Mimi's footsteps. I never saw it because I wasn't even thought of or born yet, but her dad used to, of course, the whole family had watermelon leases all over Texas. And she'd get out from school, and as soon as she could hit that field, she'd run ahead of him with a stick, turning those vines down the road so he could plow with that tractor. So he was following in her footsteps. But thinking about the fruit, tracks, I saw something that, y'all know me, I get to thinking too much sometimes, especially if I'm tilling. Call it my tilling therapy. I planted a late set of some green beans in this outer row here. As you can see, well, you may not can, there's a lot of green here and hardly any on that side. And I'm like, well, my goodness, I planted them all right ahead of that rain, and everything's up except that outer row. So as I was tilling it, I can see Sissy's foot tracks out here from the wet dirt. Then I saw another set of tracks. Got a little old doe prowling around. And I guess Sissy was late to the punch, and she snipped off the heads of those little pea sprouts, which happens. Not a big loss. I've got plenty to take their place, but that's how you know where something's been, you know? The tracks, what we leave behind. My mom and grandmother and dad, the whole family's tracks are all over this place. If you look for them, you can see it. I was thinking about content. How do you tell? You know, the good book says we can't judge, but it does say if we see, I think it's in Luke, I'll paraphrase it in my country terms. If you see an old tree bearing a big old peach, that's a peach tree. You can't call it a tree by its fruits. We saw a pretty old ugly tree last Monday up north. That wasn't even about human condition. That was evil. Completely evil. But I don't know. I think we're seeing some hate manifestations too, aren't we? A man back in the 60s had a dream. He said we could judge a man, or he hoped today we could judge a man by the content of his character, and not by his skin. And I'll sit in judgment on that situation up there. That was evil. Pure evil, that death, no matter how you look at it. So, I wasn't raised in a home with hate. Never been around it. I know it's out there. I'm not ignorant, but that wasn't hate, that was evil. Had nothing to do with anything but sheer evil. And now we're going down a road of hate. That same man said hate couldn't drive out hate. Only love can do that. Something to think about, y'all. Yeah. I don't know, I'll get off the gas on that one, but only the good Lord can sort all that out. Right? Looks like I got somebody wanting to buy some eggs. But maybe old Jordan will rise to the challenge. Doesn't look like it. So I'm going to have to cut this short. We're not going to be able to do a roll call. That's all right. Anyway, just my thoughts. Tracks. Let's leave some good ones. Not spray paint on the side of a building or even a burning building. Let's do better than that. Guarantee one thing, if I do see some race problems, I'm going to stand for it. But it usually makes its manifestation in a lot quieter ways than a death like that. But anyway, we'll keep it positive, and y'all have a good evening. And I guess we'll check in later. Sorry about the roll call. Got to get back to chores. Hope y'all have a good evening. Be the light.